Hey, peace. I wanted to share something that happened to me in in the past, quite a few years ago. This experience I had that changed my life. Um, so what happened was one evening I came home, and at that point in my life, a lot of things had just gone on that was kind of tough to deal with. So I was kind of in a place of just like tired and just kind of like I have had it. Kind of like a surrendered place, almost like not knowing what I wanted to do in this life, and where I was to go, and who I should be, and how what I could do to best be of help on this planet and to be a good person. Just kind of disillusioned of who I was, what I was supposed to be doing. And so that's the place I was at. And so I come home this one evening, just tired, and sat down on my couch. Um, Nobody was there. It was nighttime. It was dark. I just turned the lights off, sat down in the quietness of the darkness on my couch, kind of folded my legs up and got in a good comfortable position, kind of sitting straight up, and thought I was just going to meditate for a little bit. And so I sat there in silence, started to meditate, and what occurred was very similar to I've heard a lot of accounts of near-death experiences, and of course I didn't die during this, but I did have this profound supernatural experience occur to me. So what happened was I was sitting for probably 5 minutes and really in a place of deep rest. And then all of a sudden, from my eyes being closed and my sense of who I am as my eyes were closed, the sense of who I am and where I think from is here usually. Like when I close my eyes and I'm thinking from here, from my head. Although at this point it's such rest, I wasn't really aware of my body. It was just kind of like my consciousness, I'm thinking and I'm here. And what happened was all of a sudden it was as if like something within me opened up, like almost like a tunnel, or I don't know how to describe it. It definitely felt round or like a tunnel, and it opened up within me. And me, who thinks, and where my consciousness comes from, which is normally here, felt like I was falling. Like literally, like all of me, all of my consciousness was falling, like to the point of where like my being, when you unexpectedly almost trip or fall and you get that feeling and you like, whoa, it's a little scary, and you can get, a feeling in your gut. Like that feeling in my soul was there, and I was falling. Strangest sensation. I'd never had anything like this in my life. And so I fell and wound up stopping like right here. So now where I think from, where I feel from, all of who I am is now perceiving reality through this place in my body, which was the strangest sensation to have, where you perceive from be here rather than here. So at first I was a little bit shocked and like in awe of, whoa, this is strange. But immediately, like, I'm not the person that usually goes into fear. Like, anything like this spiritual intrigues me, and it's really what I live for. So I immediately went from a little bit of shock into, whoa, this is cool. This is amazing. And so as I settled into this place, my perception of reality was different from where it normally is. From this place, a sense of, I don't know what words I could use to describe it. I no longer felt my body at all anymore. It wasn't like I could perceive the shape of my body and my legs and my arms and my head. At this point, it was like I was a sphere. Just a sphere of energy. But I had all my thoughts, all my like feelings, like everything that normally is me was now here, and it was a sphere. And this wasn't like a daydream. I didn't, when I was younger in high school, I did some drugs and stuff, nothing too crazy, but at this point in my life, this is 10 years after that or more, no drugs, anything like that. I didn't drink. I didn't, at that point, I didn't smoke cigarettes. I wasn't even drinking caffeine. So it wasn't like this was some drug-induced thing, or I don't have like mental problems, or I take medications for anything. So it wasn't like this wasn't like a weird drug-induced or psychotic or like manic depressive, like nothing like that. So just to put that out there, this was like real. This was so real, way more than like a daydream. You could have like a vivid daydream, or even a dream when you're sleeping. I was so conscious and so awake and so aware. But okay, so I'm here, and there's this sphere. I'm a sphere at this point. It's like I'm a consciousness, but at the same time as I'm fully aware of myself and my normal state of being, I'm also like an equal amount of awareness of my boundary of my being in this sphere. It was the feeling that overcame me in this knowing was one of such balance. Like, I've never felt so balanced and so it was very peaceful. It felt very, very good. It felt nurturing. It felt, words are tough to describe. It was amazing. And so I'm in this place, and I don't stay there long. I'd say maybe a minute. It was tough to tell how long it was. But then suddenly I moved again, like through that same process of falling down. I moved again, but this time I went up. And there was this movement, and it seemed like a long distance when I fell. But it seemed like way more falling that would have had to have occurred just to go from here to here. So it was this big fall, but then that's where I was. So then this other movement, but it goes upward, and I stop right in my heart area, like right here. So now I'm perceiving from this area, and it's no longer a sphere. I'm no longer aware of my body. It's no longer a sphere, and I'm in another totally other plane of existence. I'm not aware of my body. A scene. Now I'm here, but it was like as if my mind, like not my brain, but my mind and thinking opened up into a vision of this new place. And okay, so at this point in my life, I'm on a spiritual path. I meditate. I want to be a good person. I want to know peace and love and share that with my fellow man. And I would like consider myself New Age. I wanted nothing to do with Christianity at this point in my life. But what appeared before me was this scene, and it was this hill. It was a slight hill. I was down at maybe like 50, 60 feet, and there was a cross, and there was a man on a cross. And as soon as this scene opened up, I knew it was on that cross. And there was all this. It's tough to describe. It was like as if lightning struck, and there's that white light of lightning, and it's got like a little bit of blue in it, like a bluish purple, but mostly white. There was like this electricity in the air coming off the area where he was, going all the way up to the sky. It was powerful. This light was amazingly powerful. And I look around at the scene, and there's all of these people. And people are throwing rocks at him, and other people are spitting, and other people are laughing, like mocking. Like as the guy's dying, they're mocking him. So I'm looking around at this scene, and then my perspective from where I was on the hill changed. Now it was as if I was inside the one who was hanging on the cross. And it was like my heart and my mind were lined up with his. And I was feeling at this point, feeling what he felt, knowing his thoughts, and seeing what his eyes saw. And so now I'm looking out of this being, and I'm looking at the crowd of people. But at this point, like, I'm not seeing in the way I saw when I was down the hill. What I'm seeing now is a man looking out with so much sorrow for everyone he was looking at. He felt so sad that everyone was lost in hate. Hate, judgment, sadness, not knowing the connection that he had with this light that was in him, and he had this connection with. So I'm experiencing this connection and this power and this light and this love that he's feeling. And I know it's God. It's God's presence within him. And to me, it was like the light and the love that I've always been searching for in my life was in this man. And I could feel how kind he was. He was the kindest, gentlest, most loving person. And he's looking out, and he's so sad that nobody knows this connection to God. And then I feel him pray to God with all of his being. And he asked that what he has with God be given to all of the lost people. And what he meant was he was willing to give up. He was praying to God, take what I have, like I give it up to where. And what he meant was where he would have nothing, like he would lose this precious gift of the connection to God. He would lose it and become nothing. And he was just praying, please give it to them. They don't know you. They're lost. They need it. So I experienced this prayer and him willing to give up everything. And it was a lot to give up because it was everything. And my being that was given the gift of witnessing this man's prayer and what this man had and what he was willing to give up and what he prayed be given to mankind. That forever changed my heart. So after this occurred, my soul was basically wrecked. I was hit with so much. The presence and connection of God that was within him shook me to my core. I'd never experienced anything like that. And then the fact that he was willing to lose that and give it up for all those people who were being so mean to him, that way it just broke my heart. Like, I always thought I was a loving person and kind. If you would ask me, like, do you think you're a good person? I would have said yes. But I didn't even know what I experienced him do. I didn't even know that could exist. I didn't even know it was possible. So my definition of being loving was forever changed. It revealed how selfish my love was compared to this. So this scene slowly fades, and I'm just left with my soul. And I don't even know where I am at this point. It's just like everything fades away and things get dark. And I'm sitting there. And I slowly start remembering myself. It's very slowly and subtly start sensing my body again, and then slowly come back into my body. And I'm sitting there. And a little bit of the feeling of the sphere is still there, even though I'm in my body. It was as if it was around me. But now, at the top of the sphere, it had a shape, and it had like a silhouette of a man's head and the shoulders. And I knew it was Christ. So I had this knowing, like my field of energy of who I am in my presence is now part of this beautiful being's prayer. I felt like I was a cell within the body of Christ. It wasn't anything I've ever learned about church or how people portray Christ. Like, I couldn't have been more proud to have my energy field be one with this kindest, most loving, radiant being I had ever experienced. So that was my experience. That changed everything. in me. And since then, I've always wanted to let people know my experience of who Jesus is. Because I don't think he's portrayed correctly a lot of times. And I believe what he prayed to God to be willing to give up what he has for any of us who would accept it is true. Because from that day and every day afterwards, something had been opened up in me. Something in my heart and in my being was now, after that occurrence, now it was almost like the radio had been turned on to a frequency, and that same light, that lightning like light of God, the presence of God, the Spirit of God, started to commune directly to my soul in a way that was beyond logically thinking, like beyond my mind. Like, none of this makes sense, I know. It seems ridiculous. It seems like it's delusional. But like a wisdom and a peace and a love beyond understanding of the human brain started to be with me. Then I was interested, so I read the Bible, and things would jump out of the Bible with this light in me. I could see things that people were saying and see the depth and the meaning of what they meant and how profoundly powerful and spiritual and life-changing it was. That without this connection, I don't think I would see it. It was almost like a decoder, like in a kid's toy, a decoder ring or the magic ink. And I would know what they really meant. And I would be like, oh, like this is so misperceived in the world. Like people see it as one way or judgmental, and it's really illuminating, trying to help break me free into this light and love and this freedom. So it changed my life, and it's so beautiful and so real, and has carried me out of hard times where I go back and I get trapped in my old self and in my mind. By remembering and wanting this connection again and being willing to lay everything else down, it always comes right back. I think that's really the definition of repenting, is seeking back your connection with God, with this light and this love that transforms your life. It can bring you out of like depression. It can bring you out of worrying, like worries of the world, of money, or who am I, or what am I doing, or nobody likes me, or it's so much more powerful than that if we open to it. This is so real. It's so powerful. It's so life-giving. So I just wanted to share this experience I had with Christ that changed me in a way that has affected everything in my life and made it so much better. So much better is an injustice of a way to describe it. If you are leery of Christ and Jesus, because of things that people have done, or stances that churches have taken, or political parties, or if you think being a Christian means you need to be judgmental, or like you need to hate gay people, or you need to vote a certain way, or you need to pick it in front of an abortion clinic, or like if that's in your mind, or if you think Christians are ignorant, you know, people can act in a lot of ways. But I'm a voice that's had a direct experience. And I'm a voice saying, Jesus is the kindest, most loving, compassionate, giving, being, who only wants you to know God and be filled with light and love and compassion and be free from your sorrows and your burdens. He doesn't hold any judgment against anybody for anything. The only thing he asks is to lay it all down and come to him like a big brother. And he's standing there waiting with open arms. He wants to receive you and give you this connection to this light and love of God. That's all. That's my experience. And I'm here to make a video and get what I believe is the truth out for somebody who might want to hear this, and this could make a difference in their life. Peace. I love all of you. I wish blessings and light and love and the presence of God and within all of your souls.